I trusted my wife more than anyone. But I found out she was sleeping with my uncle. My entire family turned against me. I need to tell someone this before it kills me. 3 months ago, I was married to the most beautiful woman I'd ever known. Sarah. We'd been together since college. 10 years. She was my best friend. My anchor. The kind of person who remembered everyone's birthday. Who volunteered at animal shelters on weekends. Who made our house feel like home. I'd it all away for someone I barely knew. It started so stupidly. That's what kills me. There was no grand reason, no justification that makes sense when I say it out loud. Sarah hadn't changed. She hadn't stopped loving me. She hadn't done anything wrong. I just got bored. God, writing that makes me want to throw. But it's true. After 10 years, the spark felt routine. Predictable. We had our patterns. Sunday morning pancakes. Thursday date nights that usually ended with us too tired to go out. She'd fall asleep during movies. I'd forget to pick milk. Normal stuff. Then I met Jenna at a work conference in Denver. She was everything Sarah wasn't. Exciting. Spontaneous. She laughed at all my jokes, even the bad ones. Made me feel like I was 22 again. Instead of 34 with a mortgage and a growing gut. We stayed late in the hotel bar, talking about nothing and everything. She touched my arm when she laughed. Looked at me, like I was interesting. I told it was harmless. Just networking. Just conversation. But I knew. Somewhere deep down, I knew I was crossing lines I couldn't uncross. The second night. Me. We were outside the hotel, smoking. I don't even smoke. But I don't a cigarette to stay near her, and she just leaned in. I should have stopped it. Should have pulled back, thought about Sarah at home, probably watching Netflix with our cat in her lap, trusting me completely. Instead, I her back. We went to her room. I'm not going to detail what happened because honestly, it doesn't matter. What matters is that I made a choice. 100 small choices. Actually. Every text I sent Jenna after Denver. Every time I deleted our messages. Every lie I told Sarah about working late, or having drinks with the guys. It went on for 2 months. 2 months of living a double. 2 months of coming home, to Sarah's smile, and feeling nothing but guilt that I immediately buried. 2 months of convincing. I'd end it soon. That I just needed to figure out my feelings. That maybe I'd fallen out of love, and this was just me realizing it. All lies I told to avoid admitting what I really was, a coward who wanted his cake and to eat it too. Sarah found out 3 weeks ago. Not because I confessed. Not because I grew a spine and told her the truth. She found out because Jenna's boyfriend found out about me and called my house. At 9 p.m. on a Tuesday. Sarah answered. I was in the shower. I came out to Sarah sitting on our bed, phone in her lap, face completely empty. That's what I remember most. Not tears, not anger. Just this horrible, hollow nothing in her eyes. Who's Jenna? She asked. Her voice was so quiet. I could have lied. Part of me wanted to. But something about the way she looked at me. Like she was already seeing through to every rotten thing I'd done. Made me realize lying would just make it worse. So I told her. Not everything. But enough. She didn't scream. Didn't throw things, she just nodded slowly. Like I was confirming something she'd suspected but hoped wasn't true. Then she asked me to leave. Pack a bag and get out. I tried to talk to her. Tried to explain that it didn't mean anything, that I loved her, that I'd made a mistake. Every word sounded hollow even as I said it. Because how to tell someone their worst nightmare doesn't matter. That betrayed everything built together for someone who didn't mean anything. If Jenna didn't mean anything, what does that say about what I was willing to lose? Sarah's voice cracked exactly once. I trusted more than anyone in the world. Then she walked out of the room. I packed a bag. Stayed at a motel that first night, because I couldn't face calling any of our friends, yet. Couldn't face admitting what I'd done. I kept thinking she'd call, that we'd talk it through. That maybe, somehow we could fix this. She didn't call, her sister did the next morning. Katie. She didn't say hello, didn't ask how I was doing. She just said, need to know that Sarah cried all night. She twice. Mom had to come over at 3 a.m. because Sarah was having a panic. Then she hung. That's when it started to really hit me. Not just that I'd Sarah, but that I'd detonated it in the middle of both our lives. Our families were intertwined. Her parents loved me. My parents loved her. We had mutuals loved her. Shared spaces, a whole built together. And I'd taken a sledgehammer to all of it for hotel room hookups with someone I barely knew. The word spread fast. By day 3, my phone was full of messages. Most were from Sarah's friends and family. None were kind. Her brother called me names I won't repeat. Her best friend sent a 4-paragraph text detailing exactly what kind of person I was, and how I'd never deserved Sarah in the first place. My own friends were confused at first, then angry. Jake, my buddy since high school, sent one text. Man, what they were thinking. I wasn't. That's the thing. I wasn't thinking at all. My mom called crying. Not because of me. Because she'd just gotten off the phone with Sarah's mom, and realized what I'd done. How could do this to that sweet girl? She kept asking. Like I was a stranger. Like she didn't recognize her own son. Maybe she shouldn't. Maybe I don't recognize either. Work got uncomfortable fast. Jenna and I worked for partner companies. People talk. The looks in meetings changed. Whispers in break rooms. Someone left a printed definition of integrity on my desk. Jenna stopped responding to my texts. I guess once the excitement of sneaking around was gone, once there were real consequences, she decided I wasn't worth it anymore. Can't say I blame her. I'm not sure I'd want to be around me either. I tried to see Sarah last week. Drove to our house. Her house now. I guessed and knocked on the door. Her dad answered. Told me to leave or he'd call the police. Said I'd done enough damage and Sarah needed space to heal without me hovering around like a ghost. The worst part. He was right. I'm staying with a coworker now. He offered his spare room when he heard what happened. Mostly out of pity, I think. His wife barely speaks to me at dinner. I don't blame her either. At night, I lie awake in a stranger's guest room and think about Sarah. About whether she's sleeping okay. Whether she's eating. Whether she sits in our house and sees me everywhere and hates it. Hates me. I think about the we had. The one I torched because I was selfish and convinced I deserved more than ordinary love. I think about how I'll never get to make her coffee the way she likes it again. Never hear her laugh at our inside jokes. Never hold her during storms because she always got a little scared of lightning. All of it. Gone. Because of me. People keep asking if there's a chance we'll reconcile. If maybe, with time, Sarah will forgive me. I don't think she will. I don't think she should. But, the truth I'm too scared to say out loud is worse. I don't think I've hit bottom yet. I can feel it coming. Like standing on a frozen lake, and hearing the ice start to beneath your feet. This is just the beginning. It's been 6 weeks since Sarah kicked me out. I thought I understood consequences. I didn't understand anything. The divorce papers came last Tuesday. I was expecting them, but seeing my name on legal documents next to words like dissolution of marriage and irreconcilable differences made it real in a way nothing else had. Sarah's lawyer included a note. Professional. Cold. Requesting I not contact Sarah directly and route all communication through legal channels. I signed them in my car in a parking lot and cried like a child. But that's not the worst part. The worst part is what happened with my family. I need to back. There's something I haven't told anyone yet. Something that makes this whole situation so much darker than just a simple affair. The night before I left for that Denver conference, Sarah and I had dinner with my family. My parents, my sister Emma, and my uncle Rick. Rick's been like a second father to me my whole. Helped me through college, gave me advice on buying our house, was supposed to be my best man before I convinced my buddy Jake to do it instead. At dinner, Rick pulled me aside. Told me he'd been having problems with his wife, Diane. Said they'd been in counseling but it wasn't working. He looked tired. Broken. I remember thinking how sad it was. That even the strongest couples could fall apart. I remember him saying, "Don't take Sarah for granted. Kiddo. I've got something real. Don't mess it like I did." I nodded. Promised I wouldn't. Went to Denver 3 days later, and did exactly what he'd warned me not to. The irony would be funny if it wasn't so devastating. After Sarah kicked me out, I avoided family gatherings. Made excuses. Said I was too busy with work, too tired. Dealing with the separation. My mom called constantly, but I kept conversations short. I wasn't ready to see the disappointment in everyone's eyes. But last Sunday was my dad's birthday. 65. Big family dinner at their house. Mom said I had to come, that Dad wanted me there, that family is family no matter what. So I went. I should have stayed away. I got there late, around 7. Cars packed the driveway. The whole family was there. Aunts, uncles, cousins. I took a breath and walked in, preparing for awkward conversations and judgment. What I got was silence. Everyone was in the living room. Mom was crying. My sister Emma looked like she'd seen a ghost. Dad was red-faced, pacing, while Uncle Rick sat on the couch with his head in his hands. I thought maybe something had happened. An accident. Then my cousin Ashley saw me and said, "Oh good. He's here. Now we can all discuss what a hypocrite he is." I was confused. What are talking about? My mom turned to me. Her eyes were swollen. Did know. Know what? About Sarah and Rick. The room tilted. I actually stumbled. Emma stepped forward. Deanne showed an hour ago. She had pictures. Messages. Sarah and Uncle Rick have been seeing each other for months. Since before, even went to Denver. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't process what she was saying. That's impossible. Sarah wouldn't do that. She's not like me. She's been sleeping with your uncle, Dad said. His voice was ice. While we're at work. While we're building it together. And apparently, the whole thing started because she was lonely and Rick was going through his divorce and they connected. I looked at Rick. He wouldn't meet my eyes. Tell me this is a joke, I said. Mom held her phone. Showed me screenshots. Text messages between Sarah and Rick. Dates going back 8 months. Conversations about meeting. About how guilty they felt. About how they knew it was wrong but couldn't stop. One message from Sarah. Dated 2 weeks before I left for Denver. I know we should end this. But when I'm with, I feel seen. Like I matter. I read it 3 times before it sank in. Sarah had been cheating on me. With my uncle. For 8 months. Which means when I was in Denver with Jenna, when I was making the worst decision of my. Sarah was already betraying me. Already sleeping with someone else. Someone in my own family. The room was spinning. I sat down the nearest chair. Why didn't anyone tell me? I asked. We just found out. Emma said. Deanne hired a private investigator. She suspected Rick was seeing someone. But didn't know who until last week. When she saw the pictures and realized it was Sarah. She came straight here. I thought about every conversation I'd had with Sarah after Denver. Every tear she'd cried when I confessed. The way she'd looked at me like I'd destroyed her entire world. She'd been doing the same thing. For longer. With someone I trusted. Does she know that I know? I asked. Mom nodded. Deanne called her an hour ago. Screaming. Sarah apparently hung and hasn't answered since. Uncle Rick finally spoke. His voice was hoarse. I'm sorry. God, I'm so sorry. It just happened. We were both lonely, and it spiraled, and I know that's not an excuse but, I never meant to. I stared at him. This man who'd given me advice on my wedding day. Who'd told me to cherish Sarah. Who'd warned me not to take her for granted while he was actively sleeping with her. Get out. I said. What? Get out of this house. Now. Dad stepped forward. Don't get to make that call. This is my house. I looked at my father. We're taking his side. I'm not taking anyone's side. This whole situation is a nightmare. But don't have clean hands here either, son. Cheated on Sarah first. I cheated for 2 months. She was with him for 8. Does it matter? Mom asked. Tears were streaming down her face. Both betrayed each other. Both destroyed your marriage. And now our entire family is caught in the middle of this mess. Ashley spoke. Actually, I think it does matter. Sarah's been playing the victim for weeks. Letting everyone comfort her. Telling everyone how devastated she was. How she trusted him more than anyone. And the whole time she was lying to all of us. She wasn't lying. Emma said was. What he did her, regardless of what she'd done. So we're defending cheaters now. Ashley back. The room erupted. Everyone talking over each other. Some defending me. Some defending Sarah. Some just angry at the whole situation. My cousin Marcus said something about how I'd always been selfish. My Aunt Linda said Sarah had seemed off for months and now it made sense. Uncle Rick tried to leave and Dad stopped him. Told him to stay and face what he'd done. Rick said he'd face it but not like this, not with everyone yelling. He grabbed his coat and walked out. No one stopped him the second time. I couldn't take it anymore. I left. Got in my car and drove. I ended at the apartment I'd been sharing with my coworker. He wasn't home. I sat in the dark for 3 hours trying to process everything. Sarah had cheated first. Before Denver. Before Jenna. Which means, all those months I'd been feeling guilty, she'd been coming home from being Rick, and pretending everything was fine. Kissing me. Telling me she loved me. Planning our future. While sleeping with my uncle. Part of me felt validated. Like maybe I wasn't the villain after all. Maybe we were both broken. Maybe this was just a situation with no good guys. But that feeling lasted about 10 minutes before reality crashed back in. Because here's the thing, I didn't know Sarah was cheating when I slept with Jenna. I made my choice thinking I was betraying someone faithful. Someone who loved me completely. That doesn't change just because I found out later that she was betraying me too. I'm still the person who away his marriage for a stranger. The fact that my marriage was already broken doesn't make what I did okay. And the worst part, everyone knows everything now. My phone has been exploding for days. Family group chats are war zones. People picking sides. Arguing about who's worse, me or Sarah. Who started it? Who deserves sympathy? My sister won't talk to me, because she thinks I'm using Sarah's affair to excuse my own. My cousin Ashley keeps texting me screenshots of people defending Sarah on social media. Like I need to see strangers calling me trash. My mom called yesterday. She was calmer. Said the family is fractured and doesn't know how to fix it. Dad isn't speaking to Rick. Rick's marriage is over. Diane is to sue Sarah for alienation of affection, even though I don't think that's a real thing in our state. And Sarah. God. Sarah sent me one text through a friend's phone since everything came out. I'm sorry found out this way. I never wanted to. But me first. Even if didn't know it. I read that message 50 times. Trying to figure out if she's right. If somehow my cheating 2 months ago is connected to her cheating 8 months ago. Through some timeline. I don't understand. It doesn't make sense. But nothing makes sense anymore. I tried to call her yesterday. Blocked. Tried to email. Bounced back. She's erased me completely. The divorce is moving forward. Her lawyer sent an update saying Sarah wants it finalized as quickly as possible. No fighting over assets. She just wants out. I'm sitting here in a borrowed apartment, estranged from half my family. Watching my parents' marriage strain under the weight of what Rick did. Knowing that every family gathering for the rest of my will be tainted by this. And the thing that keeps me at night isn't anger at Sarah. Isn't even anger at Sarah. Though that's there too. It's the realization that I'll never know the truth. Did Sarah cheat because she was unhappy? Was I a bad husband before I ever touched Jenna? Did I ignore signs that she was pulling away? Or did she just make a choice like I did? Because she was selfish and wanted something different. I'll never know. Because we've both burned too many bridges to ever have an honest conversation. My coworker came home last night. And found me staring at old photos on my phone. Pictures of Sarah and me at our wedding. Looking so happy. So sure we'd make it. He asked if I was okay. I told him I didn't think I'd ever be okay again. He sat down next to me. Didn't say anything for a while. Then, know what the saddest part of all this is? I looked at him. Both probably would have made it, if just been honest was unhappy. If it told her we're feeling disconnected. Instead, both went looking for answers in other people. And destroyed everything. He's right. We destroyed everything. And now I'm living in the wreckage. Waiting for the next to drop. It's been 4 months since everything exploded. I keep thinking I've hit rock bottom. But apparently there are basements beneath basements in. The divorce finalized 3 weeks ago. Sarah kept the house. I didn't it. What would be the point? I can't live in a place where every room reminds me of what we were. What I destroyed. What she destroyed. The kitchen where we used to cook together. The bedroom where we'd talk for hours before falling asleep. All of it poison now. I signed the papers in a lawyer's office that smelled like stale coffee and defeat. Sarah wasn't there. We haven't been in the same room since the night she kicked me out. Everything went through lawyers. Efficient. Like we were strangers dissolving a business partnership, instead of two people who once promised forever. My lawyer asked if I wanted to pursue anything regarding her affair with Rick. Leverage it somehow. I said no. What would that accomplish? Make her more. Make me look less guilty. We both cheated. We both lied. Trying to prove who was worse felt like arguing about which kills faster. The family situation has somehow gotten even more complicated. Uncle Rick's divorce from Diane went through last month. Messy doesn't begin to cover it. Diane took everything. The house, the savings, his vintage car collection he'd spent 20 years building. She was ruthless. Can't say I blame her. Here's the part that made me physically ill. Rick and Sarah are still together. My cousin Emma told me 2 weeks ago. She'd seen them at a restaurant across town, holding hands. Rick had his arm around her. They looked like a couple. Because they are a couple now, apparently. The woman I was married to for 10 years is dating my uncle. The man who taught me how to throw a football. Who gave me advice on proposing to Sarah. Who stood next to my parents at our wedding and toasted to our happiness. They're together. Publicly. And according to Emma. They're talking about moving in together once the dust settles. When she told me. Just walked to her bathroom and got sick. She held my hair back and cried with me. At least I still have Emma. But I've lost almost everyone else. My parents are barely speaking to me. Mom calls once a week out of obligation, but the conversations are stiff. Uncomfortable. She's trying to maintain relationships with everyone, and it's tearing her apart. Dad's angrier. Feels like I brought shame to the family name. Like my choices started this whole chain reaction. Maybe he's right. Dad and Rick aren't speaking. Thanksgiving was at my parents' house and Rick wasn't invited for the first time in 40 years. Half the extended family didn't come in protest, saying Dad was being unfair. The half that did come spent the whole time whispering and taking sides. I wasn't invited at all. I spent Thanksgiving alone in my new studio apartment eating chanchjika and trying not to think about last year, when Sarah made a turkey from scratch and boasted. And both of families and everyone was happy. Work has become unbearable. The story spread through both companies. I'm the guy who cheated on his wife, while she was cheating on him with his uncle. It's like a soap opera and I'm the lead character no one's rooting for. People don't talk to me in the break room anymore. I eat lunch alone. Got passed over for a promotion last month. My boss didn't say it was related, but I know. Jenna left the company. Took a job in another state. Didn't say goodbye. I saw her LinkedIn update and felt nothing. This person I'd risked everything for was just gone, like she'd never mattered at all. Because she hadn't. Not really. I got last month and tried to call Sarah. Her number was disconnected. I tried messaging her on social media. Blocked on everything. I drove by the house at 2 a.m. like a Rick's truck was in the driveway. I sat in my car across the street for an hour, staring at the bedroom window. Our bedroom, where Rick was now sleeping with my ex-wife. In my bed. In my house. A neighbor must have called the cops because a patrol car pulled. The officer was polite but firm. Asked what I was doing. I told him the truth. He looked at me with something like pity and told me to go home. Said sitting outside my ex's house wasn't helping anyone. He was right. But I didn't know where else to go. My friends have mostly disappeared. Jake still texts sometimes, but it's different. Strained. Most of our friend group were couple friends. Shared with Sarah. And they chose her. Can't blame them. She's easier to support. The faithful wife who was betrayed, even though that's not the whole story. But her version is simpler. Cleaner. Doesn't require explaining why she was sleeping with my uncle for 8 months. I ran into her friend Michelle at the grocery store last week. She saw me and her face went cold. Got a lot of nerve showing your face around here, she said. I tried to walk away but she followed me. Sarah is finally happy. Finally healing. And if do anything to mess that, I'll have to deal with all of us. I wanted to ask if she knew about Rick. About the 8 months of lies. But what would be the point? Everyone's decided who the villain is. Trying to argue just makes me look worse. The only people who still talk to me regularly are Emma, and my buddy Carlos from college who lives 3 states away. Carlos calls every few days to check in. Tells me this will get better. That time heals everything. I don't believe him. Because here's what I've realized: some things don't heal. Some betrayals are permanent. Some choices echo forever. I went to therapy. My therapist is kind, but she asked me what I wanted out of our sessions. I said I wanted to understand why I did it. Why I everything away for someone I barely knew. She said, we're looking for an escape. From routine, from responsibility, from the reality that marriage is work. The affair wasn't about Jenna. It was about avoiding the hard conversations needed to have with Sarah. Then she asked, if could go back, what would do differently? I said I wouldn't go to Denver. Wouldn't flirt with Jenna. Wouldn't cross that line. She shook her head. Go back further. Before Denver. What would do differently in your marriage? I couldn't answer. Because the truth is, I don't know what was broken. Sarah and I were good. We were fine. We had the normal problems everyone has. I got bored. Restless. Started telling I deserved more than fine. Meanwhile, Sarah was telling herself the same thing. Finding excitement with Rick. Feeling seen. And wanted in a way she apparently didn't feel with me anymore. We both chose destruction over difficult conversations. We both chose strangers so well. Rick wasn't a stranger. Which somehow makes it worse. Over the person we'd promised to love forever. The therapist asked if I was angry at Sarah. I said yes. Then no. Then I broke down and cried for 20 minutes. Because I am angry. Furious. She cheated first. For longer. With someone who was supposed to be family. She lied to my face for 8 months. Comforted me about work stress while sleeping with my uncle. Made plans for our future while betraying our present. But I'm also not angry. Because I did the same thing. Maybe not for as long. Maybe not for as long. But I still betrayed her. Still lied. Still chose someone else. We're both guilty. We're both victims. And somehow, we're both completely alone now because of choices we made thinking we deserved better than what we had. My mom called yesterday. Really called. Not the obligatory check-in but an actual conversation. She said the family is fracturing. That Dad's brother, the Rick's father, isn't speaking to Dad anymore. Because of how Rick's been treated. That holiday gatherings are being split between Team Rick and Team Dad, like we're in some kind of civil war. That my grandmother, 92 years old, cried last week asking why her family is falling apart. This all started with, Mom said. Not accusatory. Just tired. Your choices set off a chain reaction that's destroying everything. I wanted to argue. To say Sarah cheated first. To say Rick made his own choices. To say I'm not responsible for how everyone reacted. But she's right. If I hadn't gone to Denver. If I hadn't Jenna. If I'd come home and told Sarah I was feeling disconnected and we needed to work on us. Maybe she would have confessed about Rick. Maybe we could have gone to counseling. Maybe we could have ended things civilly. Without destroying two families in the process. Or maybe not. Maybe this was always where we were headed. Two people too cowardly to face their problems. Finding temporary escapes that became permanent explosions. I drove past our old house yesterday. There's a new mailbox. Different curtains and new windows. Sarah's car was gone but Rick's truck was there. They've erased me. Replaced me. Moved on. And I'm still here. Stuck. Living in a studio apartment with furniture from IKEA that I assembled wrong because I was too proud to ask for help. Working a job where everyone knows my shame. Estranged from my family. Off from my friends. Divorced from the only woman I ever loved. The other night I was scrolling through old photos on my phone. Found a video from our honeymoon. Sarah and I on a beach in Mexico. Laughing about nothing. She looked at me like I was her whole world. I looked at her the same way. That man in the video feels like a stranger. Someone from a different lifetime. Before I knew I was capable of destroying everything I touched. I meet with my therapist again tomorrow. She's gonna ask how I'm doing. If I'm making progress. If I've forgiven yet. The answer is no. I don't think I can forgive. Because forgiveness requires believing I've learned something. That grown. That the person are, now wouldn't make the same mistakes. But, I'm not sure that's true. I'm not sure I've learned anything. Except that I'm capable of being selfish and cruel. That I can look someone in the eye and lie. That I can betray the person who trusted me most, and then feel sorry for when it all falls apart. My cousin Ashley texted me this morning. Rick proposed to Sarah last night. Thought should know before hear it from someone else. They're engaged. My uncle and my ex-wife are getting married. I'm going to be expected to show to family events where they're together. Where they're happy. Where everyone pretends this is normal. Where I'm the bitter ex-husband who can't move on, while they're the couple who found love in the wreckage. I won't go. Can't go. I'll make excuses until people stop inviting me. Eventually, I'll just fade from the family completely. The nephew and son who destroyed everything, and then disappeared. Maybe that's what I deserve. I thought I deserved better than my wife, better than ordinary love and comfortable routines, and a woman who made me feel safe. I was wrong about everything. Now I'm sitting alone in an apartment that doesn't feel like home. Working a job where I'm invisible. Off from everyone I loved. Watching my ex-wife build a with my uncle, while my family crumbles under the weight of all our collective betrayals. People keep asking if I've learned my lesson. If I understand what I did wrong. I do. But understanding doesn't undo anything. Regret doesn't rewind time. And knowing you've destroyed your entire doesn't give a new one. Last night I stared at my phone for an hour, composing and deleting messages to Sarah. Apologies. Explanations. Accusations. Questions about how we got here, and whether she ever really loved me, or if I was just a placeholder, until someone better came along. I deleted them all. Because what's the point? She's moved on. She's happy, apparently. And I'm here, drowning in consequences. Realizing too late that the I had was exactly what I needed. I just didn't know it until I'd burned it all down. My therapist asked me last week what I'd tell my younger self if I could go back. I'd tell him that boredom isn't a good enough reason to betray someone. That excitement fades and what or left with his character. And choices that moment start looking at someone else with interest. I've already left your marriage. That it doesn't matter if your wife was cheating too. Because, didn't know that, when made your choice. I'd tell him that some mistakes don't get fixed. They just become the rest of your. But I can't go back. None of us can. So instead, I'll post this here. A confession to strangers who'll judge me and tell me what I already know. That I'm the villain of my own story. That I deserve everything I'm going through. That I should have known better. They're right. I should have known better. When betray someone's trust, don't just lose them. Lose everyone connected to them. Lose your sense of self. Lose the ability to look in the mirror without flinching. I thought I was special. That my situation was different. That I could have my affair in my marriage, and somehow make it all work out. I was wrong, and now I'm left with nothing but regret, and a studio apartment, and the knowledge that I destroyed my entire for 2 months with someone whose last name I can barely remember. If we're reading this and thinking about cheating, about that coworker who makes feel alive, or that old flame who texted, or that moment of weakness that seems harmless. Stop. It's not harmless. It's a grenade or throwing into your, and won't know how many people, until it's too late to take it back. I learned that lesson. But the price was everything I ever loved, everyone who ever loved me, and any chance I had at being the person I thought I was.